By the way, we make lots of great content here on the channel, and if you haven't already, please think about subscribing to the channel. It really helps out the channel grow and make more great content for you. And as our analytics show, 95.6% of people aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, do please think about subscribing to the channel. Hi there, guys. It's me, Adam, here in the box. Hello. Down here. I don't know which way these things are going, so sorry. But anyway, today, quickly, we're going to have a bit of a look through my Squirrel Commander deck, and this is a deck tech, or at least a loose one to go over some of the cards. Now, I did go over some of the cards that are in the deck, but this kind of gives you all a better look at the cards that are in the deck. You can sort of see what's going on and what the price of the deck is and whatnot. You know, it's surprised me actually that it's so much money for, you know, for this deck. But there are some decent cards in here, like I say. But I don't think price necessarily sort of dictates too much, you know, how powerful a deck is. I've seen a lot of decks that are, you know, weaker but still, you know, fairly, you know, expensive, because, you know, there's cards that are just like a few bucks. So, you know, when you start adding it all up, it's, you know, you get to a fair price. You know, like, again, you can see that I've got only 6 mythics in here and I've got 39 rares. You know, that is the most part of the deck, the rares there. But, you know, some of the duels and whatnot here and there are worth a fair bit. So you can see some of that. So I don't know what the special is. What's the special? I don't know what special is. I don't know what that is. I don't know. So if anyone could tell me what special is. Common, uncommon, rare, and mythic. I don't know what special is. I don't know what that is. Someone could tell me. That'd be great. But anyway, we're going to have a quick look at the deck here. And again, I'm not going through every single thing. I'm just sort of putting this listing up here. Just if somebody, you know, wants to get a rough idea of what my deck's like. And because a few people, again, don't believe me when I say I don't have, like, combos or whatever in my deck, or don't go infinite or whatever, or this and that. Not with this deck as much, but, you know, this deck sometimes gets that. But again, because there are a few well-known combos and whatnot. But again, like, I can show you the whole deck, like, right here. This is exactly what's in the deck. And I can even pull out the deck and show it to you. But again, there are decks that people go, oh, you must have this combo or that combo or whatever, this and that and that. No, I don't. But anyway, again, Shadowfang, our commander, you know, got all the squirrels basically that we can have in this deck. And like, we've gone through some of them before, so I'm not going to go through them too much here. So we're just, you know, checking it out a little bit here. Actually, that is an interesting art there. That must be one of the what is it? Secret Lair arts. But yeah. So anyway, that's what we've got going on in here. All of our squirrel friends just hanging out. Bunch of spells, which is interesting. I think, you know, like, there's only 17 creatures, which isn't a lot. You know, like, the deck is like a few artifacts, a few enchantments, and lots of spells for weird reasons. But again, like, a lot of the ramp that we've got in the deck has to be on spells, because that's just the way that I've got about this deck, because I've kind of gone, well, I want this to be as focused on Squirrel Tribal as possible. I don't want to put in Llanowar Elves or Elvish Mystic or, Wood Elves or whatever else in here because it's not an elf deck. But I don't want to put Birds of Paradise in here. I don't want to put those cards in here, even though they're very good cards. They don't do anything for squirrels, so they might as well just be an instant or sorcery. So, it's tough to be like, well, yeah, they're not that good or whatever. You get better effects off of the creatures because you got, like, Guardian Project and things like that, so you get card draw and whatnot. But, like, again, it's tough because, like, and, like, I do suffer from not taking my own advice, like I sort of said before, I think, that I say this to almost everyone who builds a tribal deck, and this is kind of why I don't like tribal decks that much, is that too many people, and again, I fall to my own bad advice or whatever, too many people get too dear towards their tribe and don't, just put good cards in their deck. But that's the sacrifice that I'm sort of making with this deck. I'm just like, no, this deck is going to be a bit more underpowered and a little bit less good because that's how I want it. But anyway, back to the cards. We've got some decent removal in here. We've got a bunch of spells that make squirrels for us and whatnot, and things like that. We've got some removal. We've got some recursion. We've got all kinds of different things in this deck. Got some card draw. So yeah, lots of. Actually, we've also got some sort of evasion-y style cards. Got some token generators, some pump spells. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in the spell slot. Even a board wipe and things like that. So we've got some graveyard hate here in the artifacts. Got some more ramp, more spells that make squirrels, buff squirrels, draw cards, things like that. So yeah, that's mostly what the artifacts are doing. That and sort of giving us a way to end the game, things like that. So yeah, that's what's in there. Same with enchantments as well, more ramp sort of stuff, more things that make squirrels, ramp stuff, squirrels, buffing our squirrels, drawing cards, making squirrels, drawing cards, making more squirrels, some making more counters. There's not very many counters in the deck, and then just lands. So, I'm not going to go over the lands too much. Not 100% of the lands you absolutely need, like Cavern of Souls, but I just happened to open a alt border Cavern of Souls from the Zendikar archives, and I've just decided to put it in there because I happen to have it, because I was like, oh, well, that's a very good card, and it's on theme and whatnot, so I just put it in there. If you don't have it, you don't have to have every single card that I put in my deck. You can do your own thing, and that's what I mean by saying, you don't have to stick to, what anyone else says, but, just from what I decided to do, I decided not to put, like, Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, things like that in the deck, because that's not the route that I wanted to go. I wanted to stick mostly to being Squirrel Tribal, or as much as possible. Hence why I've also got Path of Ancestry in here, just to scry whenever we cast our squirrels, which is pretty decent as well. Swarmyard regenerates some of our squirrels if they're going to die, which is alright. It's not going to come up a lot, but it might come up here and there. Then we've just got, there's not that many utility lands, but there's a couple that are in here. I took Bojuka Bog out of this deck, and I've taken Bojuka Bog out of a few decks that I've had it in, because I just start finding that Bojuka Bog actually isn't that good sometimes. It's just kind of like you exile one player's graveyard, and then if you don't exile the right player's graveyard at the right time, it's kind of like, well, annoying. And then sometimes early game it's just like, well, I exiled nothing from somebody's graveyard, and that's just like, well, that did nothing. It's just another tap land. A lot of the time it doesn't happen, I know that, but again, it's just one of those things, and it's just another tap land. It's just like, well, I want to take it out and I want better cards in here. I've put Yavmai in here because our commander does have Forest Walk, and turning all of our opponent's lands into forests helps our commander get in. It's not like a Voltron deck, but sometimes it's kind of a backup plan to start going Voltron. And a lot of people do run Forest, but again, like sometimes you'll just fire yourself against mono blue or mono red or something like that. So again, you can utilize cards like this. There's nothing in here to find it, of course. So you just have to happen upon it in your 99, but still, it's pretty decent when you do have it. But everything else is just in here fixing for the most part. There's not too many utility lands in the deck. So yeah, that's pretty much all the deck is doing. All the cards, but again, it doesn't really tell you like how to play it. So this is a feature that I've found, and I suggest you guys use it here too. Which you go over to this bit which says stats and whatnot. So you can now see some of the stats that are of this deck, and you can see that the deck is mostly green with, a bit of black, a quarter of it's black basically. And you can see how many creatures are in the deck and non-creatures. You can also see your curve. So this deck's curve is peak is 3, and you can see that there's much more non-creatures than there is creatures, but that's just the way of this deck, there's a lot of instants and sorceries. There's a lot more sorceries than instants, but there's a lot of spells, there's a few enchantments, and there's a few artifacts, and then there's lots of creatures and lots of sorceries apparently. So that's how this goes and whatnot. So this is also a new thing that I've seen, which you can do sample hands, which is pretty cool. And in this hand, we've got one land, and we haven't got any ramp or anything like that, so I think this would be a mulligan. So this is a thing you can do to see, sample hands and whatnot, so you can see what your deck would do. This isn't too bad. We've got 3 lands, but we've got no ramp. But we do have, some removal. We've got a token doubler, and we've got a thing to make tokens. And we've also got a backup token maker. Now, that one does make a sacrifice lands, but, that's minor, mostly, especially late game. We don't really care about it. We more just want bodies on the battlefield so that we can overtake the game and whatnot. So this might be a pretty decent hand. So we'll draw, and this is another feature that I wanted to sort of show you guys while I'm doing this. Just to sort of show you what these sorts of games play out like. So if we, no matter what, would be doing anything here, I think we would first play Path of Ancestry. Get that down. We're not doing anything on turn 1, so it doesn't hurt us to play it now. Then next turn, depends on what we draw, but let's see. Bolus the Citadel, so that's not very good. So we'll just play another land. Alright, so then we won't really do anything. So we'll just pass and we'll draw and play another land here. Then we'll probably play Chitter Spitter. Or our commander maybe. Because our commander is 3, so we could go either way here. And Chitter Spitter does help us, almost immediately. So, we can get it out pretty quickly, and then we can get squirrels when we are about to attack and whatnot, or just afterwards. So we'll probably play our commander and then, or play Chitter Spitter, then play that. Oh look, we've got a Scurry Oak. Okay, so we're going to play Scurry Oak now, and a land. So now, we've got that on the field. Now when we make a token, we'll probably get nothing's buffing them, so we can sacrifice them to Chitter Spitter to buff them. So that will mean that Scurry Oak will trigger. So there, we can get some good stuff going there. So that wasn't too bad of a hand, even though it didn't have any ramp or card draw. Now, it does depend on what our opponents do and whatnot, and we still have Bolus the Citadel, some removal, and we still have Dry Keeper, Parallel Lives, and Squirrel Wrangler in our hand. And we'll probably drop Parallel Lives next turn so we can start doubling our squirrels even more. And our commander is doubling our squirrel production, so that is pretty good. And then we might look at dropping Bolus' Citadel as soon as we can. We do need 3 more black mana, or 3 black mana at least. But, you know, that's just fine. We've got Path of Ancestry, we've got Swamp, we've probably got Llanowar and Waves, so if we take 1 damage, we've probably almost got the 3 black. So we only need 3 more mana. So we've only got 1 of that mana, so we only need 2 more of that mana, really. So we're not that far away from Bolus' Citadel, which will help us find lands a lot of the time, and will help us cast more spells. So, you know, this wasn't that bad of a hand. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't fire if we got off to the races and whatnot. But again, it can show you what, you know, you can do with your deck. And this isn't like the perfect setup or the perfect, you know, algorithm or whatever. But it does show you a decent, you know, estimate of different things. But anyway, guys, I hope you found you know, this deck tech, or at least rough deck tech, interesting, and I hope you found this specific section interesting as well, because I think a lot of people who use things like this, like EDH Rec and like MTG Goldfish, and there's all kinds of different deck builders and whatnot, like Archidec and whatnot. Don't know all the features of it, and I wouldn't mind going through more decks on more different sites just to show you some more of the different features that you can do with some of these deck building sites and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely will try to do that at some point in the future for you guys when I get around to it. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about this deck. Write it down there in the comments below. Are you as nutty as me about this deck? Hope so. Let me know. Write it down there in the comments below. If you would like to further support the channel, you can go onto our Patreon. You can also get social with us on our Facebook. To follow all the updates, make sure you hit the like button. And on our Discord, to get into it, please leave a comment and I'll send you an invite. All links are in the description. Hey, you've just finished watching one of our videos. A bunch of other videos are popping up on your screen now for you to check out, so why not check them out? I hope you have enjoyed this video here today.